Hi everyone, I'm Adelina. I'm 25 and living with my dad in our family home. It's been 3 years since my mom passed away, and it's been tough. My dad and I were getting by with our routines and quiet dinners. Then Vanessa came along. At first, I was happy because dad seemed happier, but something about her felt wrong. Adelina, sweetie, she would say in a sugary voice, let me cook from now on. Your dad needs a woman's touch. I'd smile and say, sure, whatever makes dad happy. But then she started changing things in the house, moving furniture, replacing mom's favorite curtains, even suggesting new wall colors. This color is so dreary, she'd say. I remembered picking it with mom and felt upset. My best friend Zoe noticed too. She's trying to erase your mom, Zoe said one day. You need to stand your ground, Addie. I knew, but dad seemed happy, and I didn't want to cause trouble. Then I got an internship at the local art gallery, which was exciting. Congratulations, Dad said, hugging me. Your mom would be so proud. But I saw Vanessa's expression change when he mentioned mom. I hope this means you'll be out of the house more, she said, hinting that I should leave. I ignored her comment and focused on Dad's smile. That night, I overheard them talking. Don't you think it's time Adelina found her own place? Vanessa asked Dad. My heart sank. Was she trying to kick me out? She's still grieving, Dad replied. This is her home too. But Vanessa kept pushing for privacy. The next morning, Vanessa approached me in the hallway. Adelina, dear, she said sweetly, your father and I are getting serious, and we need our space. Don't you think it's time for you to move out? I was shocked. This is my home. I'm not going anywhere, I replied. Vanessa's expression turned cold. We'll see about that, she said as she walked away. I realized this was a battle, and I had no clue how to fight it. I walked into the kitchen, feeling uneasy. Dad and Vanessa were there, both smiling. Something felt wrong. Adelina, honey, we have news, Dad said happily. Vanessa and I are engaged. My world spun. Engaged? But they'd only been together a few months. Vanessa flashed her huge diamond ring and said, when you know, you know. I forced a smile, feeling sick inside. That night, I called Zoe in tears. She's taking over everything. Zoe, mom's things are disappearing, and the house is changing. I feel like a stranger in my own home. Stay strong, Addie, Zoe said. We'll figure this out. But things only got worse. Vanessa's son, Derek, moved in. He was awful. Hey sis, he'd say mockingly, still living off daddy's money? I'd clench my teeth. I have a job, Derek, unlike some people. One night, I overheard Vanessa and Dad arguing. Robert, darling, we should put the house in my name, for tax reasons, Vanessa said. I don't know, Van. It's been in my family for generations, Dad replied. Don't you trust me? She pushed. I couldn't believe it. She was trying to take our home. The next day, I confronted Dad. Are you seriously thinking about giving her the house? He looked uncomfortable. It's complicated, Addie. Vanessa understands these things. Dad, wake up. Can't you see what she's doing? But he just shook his head. You're overreacting. Vanessa loves us. I knew I needed proof, so I started digging, and I found it. Vanessa had a shady past, 3 ex-husbands, all rich, and all left broke after divorcing her. She was a pro at this. I showed Dad the evidence. Look, she's a con artist. But he wouldn't believe me. You're just jealous, Adelina. Vanessa makes me happy. Why can't you accept that? I stormed out, angry and heartbroken. How could he be so blind? That night, Vanessa cornered me. I know what you're up to, you little brat, Vanessa sneered, but it won't work. Your dad loves me now. You're just the sad little orphan girl who can't move on. I was furious. You think you've won? Just wait. I'll show everyone who you really are, she laughed. Good luck with that, sweetie. No one will believe you over me. Shaking with anger, I went to my room. Vanessa had Dad completely under her control. She was cutting me off, changing our home, erasing every memory of Mom. And now, she wanted our house. I had to find a way to reveal who she truly was without losing Dad in the process. But how? As I stared at old family photos, an idea started forming. Vanessa thought she had all the power, but she didn't know who she was up against. I was my mother's daughter, and Mom always taught me to stand up for what's right. I picked up my phone and called Zoe. Hey Zoe, I need your help. It's time to take down this witch. I didn't know the worst was yet to come, but I was ready for a fight. Vanessa had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I woke up to shouting. Dad and Vanessa had just returned from their honeymoon, and something was wrong. I crept downstairs to listen. She needs to go, Robert, This is our home now, Vanessa demanded. But Vanessa, she's my daughter, Dad replied. I'm your wife, you have to choose, her or me. My heart sank. I couldn't believe this was happening. I rushed into the room. What's going on? I asked. Vanessa's face twisted with a smirk. Ah, Adelina, just in time. Your father and I were talking about your living situation. What do you mean? I asked, looking at Dad. He couldn't meet my eyes. Addie, honey, he started, we think it might be time for you to find your own place. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're kicking me out of my own home? It's not like that, Dad stammered. We just need some space. Space? I yelled. This is my home. Mom and I chose everything in this house together. You can't just erase her, or me. Vanessa stepped forward, her voice sugary sweet. Darling, you're an adult now. It's time to spread your wings. I turned to Dad, desperate. Please don't do this, I begged, but he just stood there, silent and weak. You have a week, Vanessa said coldly. Pack your things. I ran to my room and slammed the door, overwhelmed by disbelief. I called Zoe, crying, they're kicking me out. Zoe, my own dad is letting it happen. Don't worry, Zoe said, you can stay with me and Ethan, we'll figure this out. As I packed, I found an old box of Mom's things. Inside were some papers, financial records, and old emails. My eyes widened as I read them. This was it, the proof I needed. That night, I decided to confront Vanessa. I know what you did to your ex-husbands, I said, holding up the evidence, the fraud, the embezzlement, it's all here. For a moment, fear flashed in Vanessa's eyes, but then she laughed. Oh honey, do you really think anyone will believe you? I'm a respectable businesswoman, you're just a jealous little girl. We'll see about that, I replied. The next day, I moved into Zoe and Ethan's spare room. As we unpacked, I told them everything. We need to expose her, Ethan said. But how? Then I had an idea. I have a friend at the art gallery who knows a financial investigator. What if we tip them off anonymously? Zoe grinned. Now we're talking. Over the next few weeks, I focused on my internship. The gallery owner, impressed with my work, offered me a chance to have my own solo exhibition. When I told Zoe, she squealed, "This is huge, Addie," but even though I was excited, it felt bittersweet. Dad had tried calling me, leaving voicemails like, "Adelina, please call me, I miss you," but I deleted them. He had made his choice. Then, about a month after I moved out, the bombshell dropped. Vanessa was arrested for fraud and embezzlement. Her past had finally caught up with her. I watched the news in shock as they led her away in handcuffs. Dad looked devastated, standing in the background. That night, he called me, his voice shaky. "Addie, I'm so sorry, you were right about everything. Can we talk?" Part of me wanted to hang up, but I agreed to meet him for coffee. When I saw him, he looked worn out and much older. "I've lost everything," he said. "The house, my savings, Vanessa took it all." I felt a mix of sadness and anger. "I tried to warn you." "I know," he said, looking ashamed. "I was a fool. Can you ever forgive me?" I took a deep breath. "I don't know, Dad. You chose her over me, over Mom's memory. That's not something I can just forget." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I understand. I just hope someday we can rebuild our relationship." As I left the cafe, I felt lighter, like a dark cloud was finally lifting. I had my exhibition coming up, great friends, and a future full of possibilities. Vanessa had tried to ruin me, but in the end, she only made me stronger. I was ready to face whatever came next on my own terms. On the night of my exhibition, the gallery was buzzing with excitement. Among the crowd, I spotted Dad. "Adelina, this is incredible," he said, his eyes wide with pride. "I'm so proud of you." We found a quiet corner to talk. He apologized again, explaining that he had been in therapy, trying to understand his mistakes. I had mixed emotions, but agreed to take small steps toward rebuilding our relationship. Suddenly, Zoe rushed over with great news. "Addie, someone just bought all your paintings. A big real estate developer wants to commission more." I was stunned. This was beyond my wildest dreams. In the months that followed, my career skyrocketed. Commissions kept coming in, and soon I was house hunting for a studio. That's when we found our old family home, now on the market after foreclosure. "I want to buy it," I said impulsively. With my new success, I purchased our old family home. Standing in the empty living room, memories came flooding back. Ethan asked, "What are you going to do with all this space?" I smiled. "How would you two like to be my roommates?" Their eyes lit up. and we began turning the house into a place filled with new love and laughter. One evening, as we sat on the porch enjoying the sunset, Dad stopped by. I invited him to join us, realizing that family isn't just about blood, but about those who stand by you. Vanessa had tried to tear us apart, but in the end, she only made us stronger. I had my chosen family now: Zoe, Ethan, and even Dad, who was slowly earning back my trust. As for Vanessa, she was in jail, her reputation destroyed, but I didn't think much about her anymore. She had no power over me. I had faced my struggles, stood up for myself, and come out stronger. The future felt bright, filled with possibilities and surrounded by real love. A few weeks later, I got shocking news. Vanessa had tried one last con while in jail, but it failed badly. It led to even more charges and exposed her whole fraud network. Her son, Derek, was caught up in it and was also facing legal trouble for helping her. As I sat on the porch processing everything, Dad joined me. "You okay, kiddo?" he asked gently. I nodded, feeling a surprising sense of relief. "Yeah, I am. It's really over now." He smiled. "You know, your mom would be so proud of how you handled everything. You're stronger than both of us." Tears filled my eyes, but they were tears of healing, not pain. As the sun set on another day, I looked around at my reclaimed home, now filled with the warmth of true family and friends. I hadn't just survived the storm, I had thrived on the other side. The journey was tough, but it brought me exactly where I needed to be, and for that, I was truly grateful. The story ends here, but I have a question for you. Was I right to cut ties with my father after he chose Vanessa over me? Or should I have given him a chance to make things right sooner? What would you have done in my situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and opinions might help others going through similar family struggles. If this story spoke to you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We share more stories about overcoming toxic relationships and personal growth. Your support helps us keep creating content that empowers others to stand up for themselves and rebuild their lives after betrayal. Remember, sometimes the family we choose is more important than the one we're born into. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to read your responses.